right, y'all, welcome back. So we're back out on the Ohio River today. If you watched our last video, we're right back in the exact same spot. On our last trip, the dam was so rough we couldn't even fish most of it, but the way they're running the water today, we should have some good conditions. We should be able to fish about anywhere we want to. So we got some good fresh bait with us. We're gonna go up here and get started, see how it goes. You want the head or a chunk, Landon?
Head.
I figured that. He always gets a head, but that's all right. So we got a lot of wind to deal with out here today, but I'm actually kind of thankful for it today because it's 90 degrees out here. I don't know if I'd be out here if the wind wasn't blowing. It's pretty hot, pretty humid. But we're gonna start out doing some bumping just because the wind basically won't let us do anything else right now. So we got some good current, about 3 miles an hour. Should be a good time. We're just gonna hold back a little bit with the trolling motor. If you're not familiar with this technique, check out some of my older videos. I've got several videos on how we do this. It's a fun way to fish and you can catch a ton of fish doing it. This wind is insane, but hopefully it'll die down later on tonight. It's already actually about 5 p.m., but if the fish are biting, we'll probably stay. We might stay till midnight as long as the fish are biting, you know. We kind of planned that, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Oh, come on.
Did it. Lower back down.
12 foot of water.
Probably 12 foot of water.
Oh, there's a fish.
Got one?
Yeah. Helicopter's coming out. Oh, it come off. Something ain't right. Man, that one felt big. I ain't even lying. I never felt one shake.
I'm done with this trip.
All right, y'all. So we've had a rough time out here. This is actually the 5th fish that we've had on. And I think it's the first one that we're actually going to get to the boat. They just been grabbing the bait, pulling real hard, and then spitting it out. They hadn't been getting the hook. But you know, we've been looking for these fish all day, and I think we found a spot with some in them here. Or we found a spot with some fish in it here, but it's not been easy out here today. We fished for a few hours now, and I think this is the first one we're gonna get in the boat. They're not a bad fish. Pretty solid fish, but we did switch up and start using shad. I threw the net trying to get an Asian carp, and we caught some monster gizzard shad, so I put a piece of that on and started getting bites right away. But man, they've just been hard to hook, and that one there's got spawn marks all over it, so that might be the deal. That might be what's going on. The water temperature is 70 degrees, so a lot of these fish are probably already spawning by the looks of this one. It's not a bad fish, but man, he's tore up. You can see the marks on him. He's definitely been spawning. He's got split whisker. That's definitely spawn marks. He's been down in the rocks for sure. All right, so that's the first fish we put in the boat today, but it's actually the 5th fish we've had on. Man, it's been tough to get a hook in them. They're definitely not eating right. Definitely not really very aggressive today. All right, let's get him back and see if we can hook another one. Hopefully there's some bigger ones down there. Landon, right before I hooked that one, Landon got hooked up with one, so there's definitely a few fish right in here.
Well, I think we're a little bit late.
What do you mean?
They're already spawning.
I know. I thought we still had a couple weeks before the spawn, but you know, they don't all spawn at once, so there's still some fish to be caught, but that one right there is definitely a sign that they're spawning on the Ohio River in this area anyway.
There he is. Honor.
I don't think it's very big. Probably just feels like they're pulling hard because we're so weak from being sick. I don't know, he's getting bigger. I think, I don't know. Nah, he's flopping around. He's another one about like the last one. We might just anchor up on this spot since the sun's going down. I don't know, there he goes again, making me think he's bigger. I guess we'll find out when he comes up. He's right there. Oh, another one just like the last one. They might all be the same size, but that's, I mean, that's a nice fish. You can't complain with a fish like that. He's hooked good. Look how beat up they are, gosh. Almost too big to do that with, but they sure are ugly. There's definitely some spawning going on here. You gonna make it? And you can see right there, he's got some marks starting on him too. Hadn't quite broke the skin yet, but that's definitely what that is. And you can tell he is tore all to the pieces. And definitely doesn't have any belly, definitely a thin fish. Definitely some spawning going on. And that's definitely a male, you can tell by the head. So it makes sense why it's been kind of a tough day, I guess. So this really hasn't been one of our best days ever out here on the river. My daughter's been sick for the past few days, sore throat, body aches, you know, low-grade fever, all that nasty stuff. And then we get up here today and by this afternoon, we can tell we both definitely got whatever my daughter had. I feel pretty rough, body's aching and everything. Landon's coughing his head off, so we're not feeling the best, but it hasn't stopped us yet. We're not gonna give up yet. Man, we're getting tons of bites and they're just spitting it out. I don't know what's going on, but it's almost like they're just trying to crush the bait and spit it out. Like maybe it's got something to do with the way they're spawning or something, I don't know. But we're gonna run back up here and get some more baits back out. Hopefully we get to feeling a little better. Nice boat spinning around. What is it? Is it skipjack? It jumped. Whatever it was. No, it ain't no skipjack.
What do you got? White bass, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, that's not what I was after, but it was fun to catch. Come right off the bank, down on the bottom.
I like that.
Oh, there it is.
Got him.
Got it.
Is it a fish?
Yes, it is. Every single grip in this exact spot. All right, so we're hooked up again. This exact same spot. I got a waypoint on it. Every time we've drifted through here, we've either hooked a fish or caught a fish. I mean, there's definitely some fish in this spot. It took us most of the day to find them, but they're down here. I don't know if there's any big ones or not, but I think once it gets dark, we're gonna anchor up right here and see what we can catch. We got tons of bait. We might as well try to go through some of it. Yeah, that's definitely the smallest one of the day. That's probably a female right there. Probably too young to even spawn. Yeah, just a little 6-pounder. I'm gonna put a fillet on. These bigger shad, I like to fillet. I like to use the head and then the fillet a lot of times. Fillet can be a really good bait. You can just leave the backbone in one side of it. Just trim it down to whatever length you want. Make it good and square so it flows through the water good. You don't want a bunch of stuff hanging off because it'll turn into a propeller. And then we'll put both pieces on there. That should get eaten pretty quick. And I always like to put the shiny side of the bait on the outside. So I'll hook one that way and one that way. Now, does it make any difference? Who knows, but definitely a little more flashy than putting the meat side on the outside. All right, we'll drop down. We might be far enough up to hook one more on this drift. I don't know. That one spot is money though. I don't know if there's any big ones, but it's full of fish for sure. We can't drift it without getting a bite. Yep, here's our 11-foot. See how it's 11 foot right now? It'll drop down to 20 and then boom, fish. Every single, there he is. I think he's big, he's mean. Well, why don't we just spot walk so we can drop another bait? Probably make more sense.
Would probably be best off just anchoring and then just bumping back.
Probably, yeah, since we're just covering this little area. It's bigger than that last one. We didn't mess with that flag. Now it looks like that's probably a female. So not the biggest one of the day, but definitely the best looking fish of the day. That's a pretty fish. Man, that thing hit hard. As far as the fish pulling, that one definitely pulled harder than any of them all day. That one right there wanted to fillet. It looked like it. I could definitely drift and I could definitely catch another fish on that, but we got so much bait with us. May as well put a fresh piece on. So we've got a bag full of giant shad. I mean, not all of them are quite that big, but that's probably the average size right there. Some big old shad. We still got lots of skipjack, and I've still got part of a moon eye. So I definitely want to anchor up, throw some baits out right here close to the bank. We'll give it 30 minutes, see how it goes. Where's that bag at? All right, so we anchored up for about 30 minutes in the exact same spot that we've been catching these fish in. Never had a bite. I mean, nothing at all. So we pulled them in, we're back to bumping. That's how we're gonna finish out the day. We're gonna make a couple more drifts through this area before we call it a day. Hope for the best. Oh, there's a fish. Oh,
There's a fish.
Yeah.
Big.
I don't think so. Oh, he's pulling hard, but that don't mean nothing. I'm so weak. He'll probably pull me out of the boat. That was on the moon eye. That's bigger than I thought. Yeah, definitely got some spawning going on there, no doubt. That was on a piece of moon eye. We caught one moon eye in the cast net earlier. I figured I'd put it on before we left. Sure enough, he tore it up. Yeah, that's a nice fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks a little healthier than the other ones we've been catching. Still got the spawn marks on it. All right, y'all, it looks like we've got some weather coming in, so I think it'd be a good time to go ahead and call it a night before we get wet. And plus, me and Landon are really just not feeling good, so we're gonna go home, try to get some rest and recover from whatever this is we've got going on. But you know, probably not one of our most action-packed videos today, but you know, we worked hard for the fish we did catch. And all in all, it wasn't a bad trip. We caught some pretty decent fish. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I want to thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. And hope to see you in the next one.